Hey now everyone, before we get into this breakdown of Skeleton Crew S1E3, spoiler warning, spoiler! Holy space pirate Star Wars fans, I think we have a bona fide winner on our hands after the debut of Skeleton Crew's third episode, which is titled very interesting, as an astrogation problem. Once again, we were treated to excellent pacing, mesmerizing cinematography and practical effects, a charming and ear-sticking score, intriguing characters, and of course, some insights into the core mysteries of Jod Na Nawood's murky past, Attin's secrecy, and the travels of the Onyx Cinder itself. It's hard to argue with the sheer level of quality to all aspects of this series just 3 episodes in. This episode brought smiles to my face, nostalgia to my Star Wars soul, and more lore food for my gut that is always eager to consume it to bring theories to life that get fans excited to think about what's coming next. Now this is Star Warsing. Before I get into the nitty-gritty, I have to throw one more compliment to Mick's score, especially the motifs he used on Kyhmm's moon, which totally channeled the woo mantra of the 1960s sci-fi fare. This score, like what John Williams was to Star Wars films, is just as impactful as the story itself, which is just another sign of this show's Star Wars excellence. Alright, so I found Jude Law's Jod Na Nawood /Silvo /Crimson Jack to be the standout character in this episode. While the kid cast remained supremely capable, and Neil once again stole a few scenes, especially when we hear his little elephant snore, it's hard not to honor how Jude brought Jod to life in the character himself. This dude clearly has layers that we will see peeled back week to week, and I'm all about that style of character development. I love how he immediately latched onto the fact that Wim, and Neil to some degree, think of him as a Jedi god. He even goes so far to spit out corny sayings about the Force to keep their trust in him and the ruse going. I also appreciated how the girls immediately question everything about him and how Jod deals with their mistrust. The introduction of Jod just adds a whole new dynamic to the main cast, but at the same time his inclusion upheld how the girls and boys fundamentally view their situation differently, with the girls being much more cautious of their new crew member and predicament, while the boys are amped up and a bit blinded to his shadiness and their peril thanks to their blind acceptance of him being a supposed Jedi. Jod to me is even more interesting now, which is a credit to Jude Law's killer portrayal, the character's mysterious past, and his perceived connection to the Force. At this point, with 2 additional displays of the Force consisting of using it for distraction and to turn off a ship's lights, I think it's safe to say that Jod, at minimum, is Force sensitive. That's not saying he's a Jedi, but he seems to at least be in tune with the Force for one reason or another. If you factor in how he responded to Fern's quips about the Jedi never leaving anyone behind, it gets pretty clear that Jod feels spurned by them for some reason. He was literally about to say to Fern that it's not true that Jedi don't leave people behind, and I think he reacted that way because he was left behind as a kid. If this Jedi Nina Nawood character is a real thing, then I'm sticking with her being Jod's mother. So to keep him safe during the Jedi Purge, she hid him away, essentially orphaning him on his own. This would explain how he has some connections to the Force, but is far from being a fully trained Jedi or Sith. It also lines up with him revealing to the kids when pressed on who he really is that he's just like them, lost and alone. So I really do think he was abandoned by his Jedi mother for his safety, and since then he's been alone in the galaxy, which explains why he'd end up being a scoundrel that gets mixed up with space pirates and always dreaming of some mythical score that may finally make him feel like a somebody. This character is going to be fun to explore as the season moves on, and while he surely has ulterior motives, I do think in the end, once all is revealed about Attin, he will do the right thing, possibly at his own expense, and that would be some memorable Star Wars right there, my friends. While learning more about Jod was awesome, diving deeper into the mystery of Attin really got my Star Wars speculation juices flowing. First, we have to honor the amazing new character in Kyhmm. This owl lady is a fantastic side Star Wars character, and the perfect vehicle to deliver a lore dump on a planet that has been purposely hidden from the galaxy for what seems like thousands of years. She's a collector, she's a stargazer, she deals with pirates named Crimson Jack, and she even has contacts with the New Republic. So this little head-rotating champ is already winning Star Wars character. Anyway, as immaculate as Kyhmm is as a character, she really shined thanks to the new insights into Attin she levied on us. She confirmed that Attin is an Old Republic planet that was kept hidden from the galaxy for its protection. We learned through her that it is hidden thanks to nebular gases, and that is considered one of the 9 jewel planets of the Old Republic. But it's also the only remaining jewel, as the others were destroyed. Determining what Old Republic she refers to is a bit tricky, because there's the Old Republic, as in 25,000 to 1,000 BBY, but the term Old Republic can also refer to the Galactic Republic that reigned for 1,000 years before the rise of the Empire. If we consider the fact that she explained that Attin is now only a legend in kids' stories, pirate shanties, and rumors for fools, you have to think that that means it's more than a few hundred years removed from the known galaxy. For something to become a myth, it usually takes thousands of years of a truth being massaged over time by different generations to the point where it doesn't even seem like it could ever been real in the first place. So I do think Attin belonged to the Old Republic thanks to how it is now described as nothing more than a legend. Kyhmm's use of the word Proto-Republic when describing the Palmarish symbols on Fern's jacket adds more fuel to Attin being extremely old. In fact, you could argue that Fern's symbol represents the 9 jewels of the Old Republic, with Attin being in the center, or the leader of those worlds, as Fern wears the patch because she's the leader of her class. More importantly, the use of proto with republic essentially means a predecessor to a republic, and she said she's never seen these symbols, which are very Roman numeral-like and probably meant to evoke memories of our own historical jewels of civilization. So she is essentially saying that those symbols have never appeared in pre-Republic artifacts, implying that Attin existed before the Republic that experienced its high phase just a few hundred years prior to its fall into the Galactic Empire. It is starting to sound like Attin is from the Old Republic, as in KOTOR or SWTOR timelines. Then you have to also factor in that the kids, and more than likely most of the people on Attin, not named the supervisor, had no clue about the Galactic Civil War ending the Republic, and then led to the destruction of one of the 2 planets Attins knew about in Alderaan. Hell, Fern was blown away that there are more than 1,000 planets in the galaxy, so Attin and its inhabitants have truly been locked away from the galaxy in the many events that have taken place since the formation of the Galactic Republic. All this is so very interesting, and the reason why Skeleton Crew seems to be a universal hit so far, even with the trolls of our fandom. The third mystery of the Onyx Cinder being on a lost jewel planet didn't get much love this week outside of an odd exchange from SM33 while talking to Jod, but that's okay. We got plenty of new insights into Jod and Attin, so I'm cool with learning about how SM33 and his crew crash landed on a hidden planet down the road. What a treat this show is, thanks to its tip-top cast of layered characters, intriguing mysteries, and of course, an immense amount of Star Wars charm via its reliance on practical effects and a complimentary score. Alright, top moments time. I could say Jod himself was an episode-long top moment, but I'll start with his rescue of SM33. From fidgeting with classic droids, to trying to lie his way out of Port Borgo to his former crew member, to being chased by space fairies, just felt like some classic Star Wars fun. The escape only got more exciting and visually wild when he tries to free the Cinder from its moorings, which in turn caused immense amounts of damage and humiliation to Brutus and his gang of pirates, while also providing some amazing reactions from the kids frantically wondering if they linked up with the right adult. The next and final top moment could be all of Kyhmm's moon base. The lore dump alone is peak Star Wars, but I'll go with the actual escape by Jod and the kids. First, I loved how after the crap hit the fan, Wim is just like, what just happened? It goes to show how precarious of a situation these kids are in by throwing in with a scoundrel like Jod/Silvo/Crimson Jack. Secondly, I really loved how the kids reacted to this frantic moment, starting with Wim and Fern throwing a tantrum over Neil getting to pilot the ship. which he does like a boss, complete with an elephant nose scream. I have to say though, the moment in this particular segment that really got me smiling and fired up nostalgia in my gut was when Wim was raised into his turret to start shooting back at X-Wings. I thought Ravi and Ryan absolutely nailed the expressions any of us would have had as kids if we were loaded into a working turret on a starship. These little gunners were oozing joy and excitement as they happily blasted New Republic X-Wings while arguing who landed the shot first. They behaved how we all did while trying to reenact the Falcon's Death Star escape in our backyards with friends, so I really appreciate how well the kids acted in this moment and how it reminded me of being one myself. Let's close this out with some Easter eggs and references. I thought I saw this last week, but I didn't bite until this one. But this guy and some other guards on Port Borgo are whipping some Constable Zuvio type of armor and helmets. This droid definitely feels like a repainted Imperial interrogation droid first seen in A New Hope. Speaking of droids, we got a threefer when Jod goes to rescue SM-33. First is a CZ droid, which first appears in the Jawa Sandcrawler back in A New Hope. Then we have this droid looking for a prince, which could very well be a nod to the Lost Prince tale from the Star Wars droid series. And finally, we got a B1 asking if they won right before his head popped off. So a great clanker cameo of a practical B1 droid. Silpho's old crew member Benjar Pranic was voiced by Alfred Molina, who to most of you is known as Doc Ock from the Sony Spider-Man movies, and recently the same character in the MCU's Spider-Man run. Not sure about you, but KB waking up gave me Lobot activated vibes. Jod's Crimson Jack persona has some deep roots in Star Wars lore. A Crimson Jack space pirate first appeared in a 1977 Marvel comic, and then recently, another Crimson Jack pirate was featured in a comic set during the sequel trilogy era. We got some TTL-8L/Y7 door droids, first made infamous in ROTJ. Attin is mentioned as a jewel of the Old Republic, which could mean from the SWTOR Old Republic, or the Republic that lasted for 1,000 years before the rise of the Empire. KB dropped Coruscant and Alderaan, and then Kyhmm mentioned the war, which we know to be the Galactic Civil War, so a triple banger to close things out. Man, talking about this show and breaking it down to form new theories is a blast, so thanks for watching. I'd love for you to consider subbing to the channel or becoming a channel member. If anything, give this video a like and leave a comment below. There's always time for Star Wars time, so don't forget to catch us live talking Star Wars on Wednesdays.